build my own world? Or is it doesn't seem like just like a normal lobby.
All right. Oh, this is in here for even more than 2 weeks. lot of people in. It's gonna be a slower day. I mean, it is early in the well, it's probably early for most people. Oh shit. I accidentally found it. Oh, that's literally gonna be impossible. Oh, do we have someone in the chat? I thought we were gonna have a pretty silent stream today. Here, I'll switch it to Valorant, why not? Oh my god, my cat's freaking out. Oh, where'd he go? My cat left.
Pull them to their grave! Ultimate ready! Nothing there!
Yeah, we're just messing around in here until the Valorant stream starts. Then we'll watch that together, and then I'm probably gonna chill for a little. Well, not chill. I gotta go somewhere. So, but once I'm back from there, which it should only be like 10 minutes. Well, not 10 minutes, maybe a little longer than that. Was Deadlock strongest map in my opinion? I think she's pretty good on Bind. Bind, yeah, Bind's a really good map for her. Split's really good. Bind, Split. I personally like playing her on Haven a lot. I don't think she's super strong on there, but I like playing her on Haven a lot. It just feels comfortable compared to other Sentinels, unless you're playing KJ. But yeah, I'd probably say
30 seconds left.
I'd probably say
Their
those
death
maps.
demands our attention. No heroics.
I feel
Follow
like there's
protocol.
a map I'm trying to think about, but I can't think
No
of it.
escape. Throwing net. No escape.
Why can I not? Hold on,
Throwing
there's a
net.
map I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of the name of it for some reason.
No escape.
I'm struggling right now.
Throwing net.
Yeah, Breeze Lock for sure.
No escape.
I like playing Deadlock on Sunset as well. It's just Sunset is a map itself kind of just I just struggle. Let me think. Hold on, let me think. Cause there's a sensor somewhere. Ascent, she's really good. Bind, she's really good. Haven, she's alright. I like playing her on Lotus. Lotus is also a pretty good one. Oh hey, the stream should be starting. I got the right date, right? I swear it's today. Am I tripping? Oh. Wait, I think they're live. Yep, they're live. Okay.
With cookie and cookie dough.
Kinda makes you wonder which came first.
It's an ad, it's an ad. Don't worry. Don't ask why they're talking about cookie dough, I don't know why. Yeah, no, I like playing her. I mean, I'm a Deadlock main, so I like playing her on every map, but... Oop. Ignore my Google Docs. You guys, I just accidentally leaked my video ideas. Dude, I want to get the new skins so bad. Oh, we got 5 minutes. Well, not the skins, but I want the Vandal really bad. Here, we'll swap back over to Valorant for just a second. But yeah, I want to get that Vandal so bad.
Death is not an option.
It is. It's like the electricity
Let them
effects
come.
of Prelude
Eagerness
and
will
being
endure.
built like
Ultimate ready.
RGX. Sadly, I'm broke and I cannot afford that. I cannot afford that bundle until my next paycheck, which even then it might be a struggle.
Pull them to their grave. Ultimate ready. Nothing
Oh,
there.
that's too high.
Pull them to their grave. Ultimate ready. Nothing there.
See, I wish we could do like some actual cool ult lineups on Split. Cause that's my favorite thing. My thing about Deadlock is I like making ult lineups. But Split just
Pull
does
them
not
to
allow
their
that shit.
grave. Ultimate ready. Nothing there. Pull them to their grave. Ultimate ready. Nothing there.
I just gotta find something for it to bounce off of.
Pull them to their grave.
And then it's
Ultimate
just
ready.
a matter of finding the position you need to stand in.
Nothing there.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. My YouTube stream might be super delayed. I don't know if that setting actually properly applied. YouTube stream settings. Or wait. YouTube. I hope they kind of like I hope they talk about some fun stuff on the stream. Like I want to see, like, it would be nice to like maybe get a I think we're going to get a hint at our next agent. Hello, Mr. Fred. Oh wait. No, okay, so it is normal latency. Okay, I can't, sorry YouTube crowd, you're gonna be delayed. I can't fix it without ending stream. Alright, but the Valorant stream starts soon, so. Alright, what are our predictions? What do you guys think they're gonna talk about? I think we're gonna get a teaser for our new agent for sure. If not new, I don't know. Is it new agent or new map next? I feel like it should be a new agent, right? Ooh, map changes would be fun to talk about. You want a new controller? See, here's the thing. I want a new Sentinel, but I also don't want a new Sentinel at the same time because I want a new Sentinel because I just want. Well, I would like a new Sentinel because I want like more variety in the role, but I also don't want Deadlock to get overshadowed. And also, they usually release like it's like 2 agents in the map, and it's 2 agents in the map. Sometimes they change it up, but we'll see. Here, I'll full screen it.
Welcome to the first ever year-end Valorant live stream. My name's Joels. I'm a Valorant content creator. You might know me from
Hold on.
more about Gecko, Deadlock, Lotus, Sunset, all the skins we can squeeze into an hour.
Oh shit!
Before we get started, if you guys like
They said they're gonna talk about Deadlock.
the countdown, you can check out the socials and
Sorry,
you
it's
can
cutting
listen to
up really
Movement
bad.
Volume 2. It's copyright free, so use it for your TikTok, YouTube, live stream, anything like that.
Hold on, let me
so
close
yeah,
Valorant. That
let's
might
get
help
into
with
it.
it cutting up really
so we're
bad.
here with the maps team, and if you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit.
Sure. My name's Coleman. I'm a product manager across all of Core Games, which basically means I just work with all the teams to help us figure out what to make and why.
Okay, I think it's just.
Cool.
I think it's actually
Diego.
Valorant's end.
I'm a game designer for modes and maps, so mostly this year I've been putting a lot of time into TDM and helping to launch that, as well as a little bit of Swift play earlier in the year.
Their voices aren't cutting up, so I think it's actually just their end.
On the maps team. They also know me as Riot Echo online.
Okay, they have a lot of map
I've
people.
worked on Pearl, Sunset, Lotus. Yeah, just art.
Nice. All right, cool. So, no, great to have you guys here. So I guess like touching on Lotus as well. So I just wanted to get started. So with Lotus, what was the goal with the design? What was your guys' kind of like?
Why are we talking about
big picture
Lotus?
coming into Lotus?
Sure. Yeah, there are a couple.
Bro,
things
Lotus
going
came
on
out
with Lotus, honestly.
Fucking
I think part of it
a while ago
was
now. Why are
wanting
we
to
talking
make
about Lotus?
a bit
Let's
of
talk
a
about
statement,
Sunset.
After Haven, I think when a lot of people looked at our original map pool, they saw Haven's sort of. I mean, one of Haven's unique factors is that it was a 3-site map. But it was something that we believed we could continue to iterate on and create new versions of in Valorant. So Lotus, in many ways, was a statement around sort of making a decision that, hey, 3-site maps are part of our gameplay and our map plan in Valorant. It's something that we'll likely continue to explore in the future. Yeah. So we wanted to make another iteration of it and show that there's like even more we could do than just the Haven layout.
Okay, no, that's great. So touching a little bit on the 3-site maps, is that do you guys want to have like half of the maps 3-site, half of them 2-site, or is it just like this is a cool idea, let's just try to experiment a little bit with the newer maps?
Yeah, I don't think we have explicit goals around like how many we want of each. I think with any
Why they got the
individual
dude in the
map,
back in a
mostly
high
it's
chair?
exploring like a specific gameplay question and try to execute on whatever we think is going to be the best layout to deliver on that experience. When it comes to the specific gameplay question that Lotus is asking and the types of things that we wanted to
Is anybody
explore,
else like? Can somebody
take? But we mostly don't want to block ourselves.
Italian
from
initiator or controller? We don't have an Italian
Lotus,
agent
we
yet.
wanted,
But
this
ISO
version of
broke the
3-site
rule
map, we
of
wanted
it's
each
always
site
going to be a
kinda feel like
new
its own distinct,
like
area.
country because he's
on
from
Haven, we
China
have, like,
and so is
your
Sage.
C main, your A main lobbies,
So,
but B doesn't really
but
have
hey,
that
I'm
kind
down
of,
for more
safe
variety.
staging space for attackers to kind of get ready to hit the site. And so for Lotus, you wanted to see what that looks like. We have C main and A main, but now we have a B main as well that attackers can use to then prep their utility and get ready to hit the site. So that was one of the
I
goals we wanted to
really
have.
hope they talk
Another one of
about
the goals
Deadlock
is,
buffs.
added flexibility between the sites.
I'm
So, for
assuming
example,
that
the
they're gonna.
breakable door in A-Link,
When he said
the
Deadlock,
rotating
Gecko,
doors,
and all that,
are all
they're
ways that we
saying they're
wanted
gonna
to
talk
increase
about the
flexibility
agents.
between,
But
different
hopefully, when they
areas
talk
on
about
the
Deadlock,
on the
they
map without
hint at
having just
changes.
open sight lines all the time, because that can be a little tricky.
Right, yeah, and I imagine it's very difficult. So, like, I guess going off of that subject is like, what is something that you guys struggled with, especially with the uniqueness of Lotus, right? Like, you guys have revolving doors, like you mentioned, the breakable doors and all that stuff, right? It's very unique, and then you don't see that in other maps. Is that something that you guys kind of struggled with for that uniqueness?
I can speak to that.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, it was our first time ever doing like organic cover. On other maps, we have like boxes and walls, and it's pretty straightforward. But like, Lotus was really our first time doing like mound, for example, and rubble.
Also,
and, like,
is it too
all of
quiet or
these
too
vines
loud
going
for you
all over the
guys?
place. So like, what did that look like in a tactical shooter? Like,
Just
so
let me know.
it was pretty challenging for the team. We had to basically create a whole new library because like before we had like all of these medals and like props and kingdom looking stuff. And it was our first time doing something like supernatural. So figuring out how the rocks like encompass the map. You know what I mean? So we created like a whole new library of like materials and props for that. Fun little fact is the rotating door actually, because we do like static lighting for our maps. Not to get too into
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Basically, because it's dynamic and it moves,
Right.
we actually have it at the beginning of every round
Perfect.
under the map in a different random room. We've had players like find this under the map and be like, "What is this?"
Right.
That way, it got like a bake that's like all the way around, like cohesive.
There, I
that
turned
way,
it
when
up
it
just a tiny
rotated
bit.
like in game, it didn't look weird. Cause like, for example, between B and C, there's like the dark lighting in B. So like one side of it would be super dark, one side would be super light, and then when it would rotate, you'd have the dark side on the light side. And the
Oh.
players were like, "What is this?"
What is going on?
And that was like
right.
the solution we came up with last minute. It was just like have it bake under the map. It pops in the beginning of the round, and yeah, there you go.
It's game dev.
Game
yeah.
dev magic.
Yeah. Sometimes the most unexpected things end up working, but you know that's interesting. I never even noticed something like that. So that's cool.
Good. That's what we want.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So on topic of the doors, right? So when the map first came out, and I experienced this myself, right? When it was like a bug where you can hear the doors really far away. Like you would be like on C and you'd hear like the A door, right? I'm imagining like that's not something that was intended. So how do you guys usually handle like bugs for the newer maps?
Yeah, I can talk about that.
Okay, sure.
So, for example, like the doors, how you mentioned the audio, we want people to be able to hear the doors and understand that if something happening, like, hey, they press the button, they may or may not be in tree room, for example.
Right.
We did overshoot it a little bit with the audio radius. And we listened to player feedback. We had videos and tweets and all that whatnot telling us like, hey, like we think that the doors are too loud or they're too distracting, and we listened to that and we took them down I think twice. So hopefully
It should be that link,
that helped with.
but
a
it
lot of
it
our,
might have gotten
frustrations,
messed up
regarding the
because
doors.
I've been messing with the Discord
and,
server
just
a lot.
for bugs in general, like send us your clips.
Here, I
post
can
them on
send.
Twitter, and,
I can
it's
send
like,
it in chat. Just
it's
give
really
me a second.
good for us to get that kind of visibility, and like some people who aren't even on the dev team will look at something on Twitter and be like, hey,
I'm
by the
gonna
way,
have to go through
this
and
thing might not be working as
never
intended.
expire.
Like going again for the doors on Lotus, like
Link.
there was a bug where Omen could TP to the top of the door as it's spinning, and then he would get teleported to the center of the map.
Yeah.
And that was like a whole thing. But
Take that one real quick.
that's like something we weren't really aware of during testing because no one really thinks to do that. And our players are incredibly smart and very creative, and so they're always keeping us on our toes for sure.
Yeah, let me
I
do
can
this
add
real
one to
quick,
that.
and then let me.
A quick little comment
full
is
screen it for you
the
guys
maps team,
again.
like on the art side, as of like the start, when we started like the production of Lotus, we put a lot of work and effort into reducing our
I
backlog.
won't be able to see you guys'
of bugs.
messages for just
I
a
just want
second.
to call out that like live maps, we haven't forgotten about them. We still put a lot of love into them, and we think about it every day. And like player reports are super helpful, not only for like bugs, like something that's game breaking or something that's like glitching weird, but also like if something looks weird or like a character blends in with a wall, like all that stuff is worth calling out, and like we keep our eyes on that all the time. And yeah, gameplay integrity is important, and we service that.
No, that's great. And I imagine like you guys can only test so much, right? So then like a lot of it just comes down to, oh my God, I found this one crazy bug, that, and it's like, how do you even find that,
Yeah, I mean, and obviously in addition to all of this, like, anytime we launch a new piece of content, we're not only we're keeping an eye on social media, but we're also sending out surveys to our players. We also have like a very robust data ecosystem that's tracking.
Yeah, I
like,
got
where
one of those
players are
surveys
moving
the
on
other day.
map, where different interactions happen on the map, like in order to track and sort of archive all of this so that we can actually have something to work off of. So we attack it from a bunch of different angles and try to get to the best place. But yeah,
Bro,
to your
where
point,
is my-
even if we're spending a long time, which we are, developing these maps internally, playtesting them a lot, the sample size of games that you get, even once it's out for a couple hours on live, is greater than anything else. So we always learn a lot and try to jump on it fast.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so one more question about the revolving doors. Sorry, I
Data
don't mean
internet's
to,
ass.
to talk about it, but I remember when I was playing Lotus for the first time, like I was trying to break it. Like I was trying to find ways. Like I would put a KJ turret like in front of the door and then just push the button, and then like jump on the turret while the door, like just to see like what would happen, like how. And surprisingly, like there wasn't any ways to like kind of. They would push you out of the door, or they kind of keep you in, and I was like, oh, this is actually like coded really well. And I'm like,
There we go.
Did you guys struggle with that? Was that something that you guys like found frustrating, or was it pretty straightforward?
Well, in terms of I can't speak to the implementation, but when it comes to the experimentation, I think like everyone on the dev team, like myself included, were also very excited by those same prospects. So those are something that it was like, I play a lot of Killjoy, so like I was definitely trying to put my turret and spin it through and stuff like that. So we had already sort of mapped out how we wanted all those interactions to work. But when we actually went to implement it, we tested different versions of the spinning door to see what would like create the healthiest gameplay. In terms of the implementation, I can't speak to that technically. I imagine there was a lot involved, but in terms of the philosophy around all that stuff, we tried several different versions of the spinning door to kind of land on what we wanted that interaction space to be, where we ended up shipping.
Right.
To add to that, we have a really strong QA team. Like, we have people whose jobs is to go in there and try and break stuff.
Oh,
like,
okay. All right.
I mean, sounds like you do great at that job.
It's fun, you know, just trying to find like these little bugs. You're like, I wonder how I can break this, you know?
Yeah, we got people on that all the time.
That's cool. That's great. So, yeah, I mean, Lotus has been out for almost a year, right? Is there any hope for possible changes? Are you guys planning on?
Oh, here we go. They're going to say the Lotus changes.
Anything like that?
Yeah, I think, so generally, just to start, when it comes to our philosophy around live game changes, and especially maps,
I know, I don't want to hear about
like
Lotus.
To
They're probably
make sure
building
we're
up
giving
to
content
something.
enough sort of room to breathe, especially for maps. Make sure we put it out on live. We want to see how players engage. We want to make sure that people are approaching it with a learning mindset, trying to sort of solve the meta and work around it. We find it really interesting when we release a map.
I hope they're leading
sort of
up
an
to
initial
something.
meta, and then there's a counter meta, and people are sort of like, it's a living, breathing
I don't know. I don't
ecosystem.
really think Lotus needs
that being said,
to
for
be
Lotus,
changed.
we do think there are some opportunities.
Yeah, here we go.
One of the biggest things we're calling out right now, like I said, we listen to player feedback a lot. We have a very robust data ecosystem.
Or wait, no,
around all
Lotus
this
is very
stuff.
attack-sided.
And we're seeing like pretty consistently across a lot of this, our internal philosophy, players, data, that Lotus it could potentially use some additional defender options.
Yeah.
It might feel a little attacker-sided right now.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're talking about internally as a team. We're not really ready to
That got
reveal
leaked-
anything
that got leaked
specific
a
yet, but
while
it's
ago.
definitely on the table and something that we're talking about.
Okay. All right. No, that's good. Yeah, because I remember Lotus like early stages was heavily like attack-sided, right? And because that's usually the case with like 3-sided maps, right? And that's like the hardest thing to balance. What I feel like, right? When you're coming out with 3-sided maps, it's like there's a lot more to take in. It's like, how do you guys manage a way to have like attacker side or rotate, but also defensive side or rotate? Also, like, how do you deal with a lot of the lurkers? There's a lot of things involved with these kind of things, and I feel like balancing that is also very hard. So.
Totally. Yeah, and I think there's one interesting piece. Whenever we release a new map, and I don't know if we've ever really said this publicly, but anytime we release a new map, it always starts attacker-sided. It's a lot easier for people to figure out how to attack maps than to defend maps generally.
Yeah.
And over time, it converges towards the mean in terms of getting more balance. But it starts off, attackers pretty much always have an advantage, and then it gets more and more defender-sided over time. And we think that there's room for texture there. The goal isn't necessarily for all our maps to be perfectly 50-50 defender-attacker.
Right.
We think that there's some nuance and interest in having maps that have different sort of texture in terms of what your goals are on each half. But for Lotus right now, we think that there's an opportunity to add a little bit more interaction
oh my
or
God.
optionality in terms of
Talk about something different, please. I'm begging
I like
you.
that. I like that because of those nuances, right? It's like it kind of forces players to play it a bit differently, right? It's like they wouldn't play Lotus that they would play Bind, for example, right? It's like sometimes they go for a certain amount of control, whether it's like they push through A, or they push through C, or maybe like
This has got to be like a
they have
long
lurkers,
stream. Usually these
more
streams are only
lurkers,
like 30,
on
40
those, like,
minutes.
two-sided maps
But
and whatnot.
this has
So,
got to be a long one
yeah,
if they're going to
it's
be
very
talking about it
interesting
for
to
this
see, and I
long.
think it's very refreshing to see it, especially in competitive play. So. Yeah. So, I mean, hopping into Sunset now, right?
Thank
so,
you, Jesus.
Sunset, fairly new.
God.
And, I guess the question would just be like, what goes into making sure that locations and
Dude, and that
cultural
card
associations
does
align?
not fucking say shit on it. It probably just says the word sunset
So,
right in the middle of it.
promise of being unapologetically global, we actually really take that like very seriously. We want to make sure our maps like properly represent the regions that they're based off of, and make sure our players feel
Why has he
represented.
got the Joe Biden
We do
cards?
this in a few ways. Every map is different. A few examples I have are, for example, we commission local artists to do murals. So like in Pearl, a lot of the murals you see are actually from like people from Portugal that are like known locally to do murals.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. See,
We
that's a
also,
cool fact.
Hire like subject matter experts. So like for a place, for a map like that's based in India, it's like very foreign to us. So like we want to make sure that we do it right. We do a lot of research, of course, but
Yeah, I remember
like,
when
it's good to
Harbor
speak
came
to
out,
someone
India
that
had a
knows
whole
more
little
or,
thing
like,
for him because they were so excited to have an
we've actually
Indian
hired,
agent.
Like,
Or well, like not
or,
Indian,
Indian
agent, but
architecture
Indian
experts that
character.
gave us some pointers and feedback on our work, and also just
Oh. No.
like stuff to
Oh,
research as
okay,
well,
there we go.
which has been super helpful.
No. Stop. Please.
For Sunset, it's
Please stop lagging.
it's pretty unique because that one hits home.
Yeah, right here in LA.
We're very
I already have low latency on here. I'll turn down the quality of the stream. Bro, fucking evacuate. If you want to see the stream, go to your.
Like an act.
Hold on, I'm gonna refresh real quick. I don't want to miss any of this because if they're gonna. Oh, of course we get smacked with an ad. Don't I have ads on? Oh, I guess I can't stop Twitch ads.
The math may not be mathing, but the chili is definitely chillier. Sonic footlong quarter-pound chili cheese coney.
Jack, the data shows that
Oh my God.
are more flavorful ultimate cheeseburgers.
Show me the data. So the data's good.
The data's real good.
Well, honestly, it's the best data I've ever had.
My best-selling ultimate cheeseburgers, seasoned as they grill.
Yeah, it's like the vibe that you guys are going for, so it's awesome, yeah. So could you guys talk a little bit about like the differences between what you saw in testing versus how the players are playing Sunset?
Can I answer that too?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, of course.
So in our internal playtest, we actually saw a lot of like mid fights, like head to head, like brawling out, like people are going crazy 5v5 in mid because like one of the design goals for Sunset was for mid to have like a huge significance, lots of value. If you take space in mid, you take a lot of space elsewhere, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So in our playtest, we had a lot of like mid fights. I'm seeing like on live, like in like high immortal lobbies, for example, or like in pro play, like I'm seeing like lots of like 5-man sight hits, maybe 3, 4, and then like the occasional late mid lurk, which I feel like is super effective because like defenders, like they have all their focus on sight, and then you have the one little rat or that second person in there just like squeezing into like all the spots that you're neglecting.
Right.
And that's been super cool to see.
Oh, it's not gonna pop up because I don't have my alert box on here. But thank you for the follow, Glux.
One difference I noticed in like pro play specifically is they send a lot of people elbow.
I need to add my alert blocks. Alert box.
And that's like not something we really did when we were playtesting as a team. Like map specifically, we have like Val-wide playtests and whatnot. But my team specifically, like we never really played it that way, and I can see how like approaching it that way is like way safer. Than,
Where's
like,
the alert box? There it is.
Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, it's always interesting, right, to just see how you guys think a map is going to play out.
It's right
versus
above
how
Jules
it actually
now.
ends up playing out right in live and stuff. Okay, cool. So we're gonna hop into some community questions that we have. So some of them I have actually written down here, and then a couple of them from other people as well.
Okay, this is a good
one question that I had. So what are some features, gimmicks that were experimented on that did not pass?
Oh, yeah. In terms of map design, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's been a couple different versions that we've tried in the past. Some of them we may want to relook again in the future.
Ask about replay system. There's no, if they're taking community questions, there's no way we don't ask about replay system.
Specifically, we talked about the idea of the 3-site map and different versions.
What the fuck?
We briefly experimented with the idea of having different areas of the map sort of be locked out or
yes, the
unavailable
moon base.
or just more difficult to access for different periods of time, and having that change over the course of the game. We think there's some merit there, but it also caused a lot of problems, so we ended up moving away from it.
They talked about this already.
That was a sort of interesting exploration around the 3-site map angle. And I think there was Pearl.
Yeah, Pearl. Fun fact, and during development, Pearl had a giant pit in mid. It's still kind of there in the arted version. It just has a little bit of glass over it. But yeah, I think it was interesting to see that we were kind of willing to take that kind of a big risk with
Go away,
the
Jake.
hit in the center, like almost allowing the map to kill you.
That was
Anyway,
perfect timing.
And yeah, so I think that was something that we kind of pivoted.
I thought the new
off of
JJK
a
episode
little bit
came
later
out.
On, but I think
I've
it
seen a
was
lot of people
still something
talking
that
about
was
it.
Interesting to try for sure.
Another cool idea that one of our designers tried out was having sound play at a random, like specific intervals, like throughout a match, which would basically mask the sound of like players moving around or utility being placed. They tested it out and just like it just enforced like it made people slam sites more.
Yeah.
No,
that's kind of
it's
like
all,
how the
it's all
intended
good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it
but
came out
it was
already.
it was a fun thing to experiment with. He had like wind coming in that would like cover up the sound.
Oh, I see. And because of the
Ew,
wind,
I
they
would
just
hate
like all
that.
push one thing, and then it's like you don't even know what's happening, and there's, yeah, okay. No,
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
I would hate that.
Okay, so yeah, another question we have, also from me. Are there any maps that had a completely different vibe?
Dude,
prior to the release?
talk
So, for
about
example,
anything
like,
else.
If Bind was like originally like on a spaceship or something, right? But then your guys are like, let's just do a desert instead. Was there ever something like that with any of the
It's
maps?
funny you bring up Bind because initially there was still the sand, but it was like covered in ice because of like radionite or
Oh,
something.
Okay.
And that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One thing that's interesting is that we've been working on this game for a long time, and actually a lot of these map site layouts actually predate
Dude,
the current
please,
Valorant
I'm
IP,
begging you.
so
I want to
don't
hear
really
about
wanna
the
go into
agents.
specifics around what we're getting played around earlier, but yeah,
Right.
a lot of the devs who've been on the project for a long time have actually played on versions
The
of
only
these
cool
maps in, like,
fact they've
several
talked
different
about so
art
far
styles.
is how they
it's cool seeing
got
the
the
versions that they are
Portugal
now.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of them have definitely
artists,
changed
like
pretty
a known
substantially over
Portugal
time.
artist to draw on the maps, and that's it.
I can think of is pretty late into the concept phase. Pearl was actually like half underwater, half above water.
Yeah.
We didn't end up going with that, but there's also like the pit whole
Oh, yeah, the
thing.
pit,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
pit
survived
thing.
a long time, just like the pit in the middle of Pearl.
Right. With a half underwater, like you'd be like swimming or something, or like.
Exactly. It's like who knows? Like it's a little
yeah.
too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's like
Cool.
Overwatch type
Cool.
shit.
I mean, would there ever? This is a little off topic, but would there ever be like a game mode with like a different skin on a map? You know what I mean, or something like that?
Oh.
Different skin on a map in terms of, well, we did do some art around Icebox for the snowball mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I think like nothing's ever off the table.
Yeah.
But it's something we just have to make
Yeah,
sure that it's like the
Okay, that's
the right
actually a good question
experience
because
and the
I've
right
always
investment.
wanted like
Anytime we pursue
Halloween
something
or
like
like
that, it's always like,
Christmas maps for like the unrated modes. That would be so
making
dope.
sure that whenever
Like
we're spending
Overwatch
our
does.
resources, there's a lot of stuff that we can do in terms of investing in like live maps or new maps, and just making sure that's the best thing that we can do for players.
Cool. All right. We have another question here from Zadushka, and they asked, "Do you have any update plans for Spike Rush?"
Oh my god. There's no way
Yeah,
that was your
so
fucking
this
question.
Year, we've done a decent amount with modes. Obviously, our focus this year have been we shipped Swiftplay.
Who asked that? Zadushka? Someone ban
We
him.
just released Drift, TDM's newest map.
Right.
Ban him.
So those were our big focuses for modes this year in terms of we saw some opportunities for the player base that we wanted to help fulfill some of those needs. Going forward, I think we are definitely turning a bit more of our lens towards our modes ecosystem as we see it today, and trying to look at what are some potential improvements we could add to the experience. So I don't think we're ready to talk about any specifics yet, but I think we're definitely looking at a couple of our modes or just some of our offerings in terms of what the entire play experience looks like in terms of you log into Val, you do whatever your warm-up routine is, you go play some games, you log off, and trying to find what are opportunities for us to make that the best experience possible. So yeah, I think Spike Rush is part of that ecosystem that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of specific, it's something that we're kind of exploring now that we're coming off of this initial Swiftplay TDM push this year and looking into next year.
Awesome. Cool. No, I'm looking forward to that. I like playing Spike Rush. It's always fun, especially with friends. We have another question here from Muslo.
Please,
and they
please,
ask,
please,
How
please.
did you get your job at Riot, and what advice would you give to people who want to join?
I'm about to fucking close this shit.
That's funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's been a little bit more recent. I actually joined Riot through our incredible university programs initiative and our program. And so I got my foot in the door that way, came out of college with the internship, and then got a full-time offer right after that. So it's been incredible first year on the Valve team for sure. But yeah, I know my path is definitely just one, and I've seen ways that people have definitely taken different paths to get to where they are now in the games industry for sure.
Okay, I'm not trying to be rude, but that was a really kind of
All right.
shit answer.
And then we have one more question, and this is more of a hypothetical kind of thing. And So I was just curious, if you could live on any of the maps, which one would you guys pick?
There's
and
no fucking way.
I mean, we live in Sunset already.
why? Okay. All right, I mean, I guess that's fair.
Easy cheating answer. I feel like an obvious one is Breeze. I don't know, like chilling on the beach sounds.
Bro, you want to live on a
Like that
fucking
one
deserted
camping all the
island?
way, you know what I'm talking about?
Sipping
all
tea
the-
with the
Yeah.
tech animals.
Yeah, exactly. Or like that big boat. You could probably live on there. You know. What about you guys?
Cool.
Oh, well, I mean, Sabrina stole both my answers, so I'll just say Sunset and Breeze.
It's the obvious answer. Breeze is so chill.
After that, I mean, Haven, I think, is a pretty good candidate, at least for me. Very serene, you
Okay.
know, as long as you're staying away from the sort of, you know.
The gunfights.
Yeah. Staying in the right areas, yeah.
Right.
For me, maybe a little bit of recency bias, but Drift. I mean, I've never been to Thailand, but you know, the fruit looks great and the city looks incredible. I mean, don't keep in mind the giant like tornado thing in the background, but you know.
I thought that was a volcano. I haven't gotten a good look at it.
The giant tornado, but it looks pretty nice. Like I'd love to visit there one day.
All right, cool. So that is it for the community questions. It was a pleasure having you guys here, and thank you for answering these questions. You know, it was great. We got like a good little insight on the maps and stuff to kind of recap for the year. So.
Oh wait.
Yeah. Thank you. So we do have a short little video break before we hop into the expressions team.
Oh, okay. It's one team at a time. That's why we weren't getting anything. We were talking. It was the maps team. Why is the Oni trailer playing? Okay, so yeah, we're not at the agents team yet. Yeah, why is the Oni trailer playing? Vandal. Oh, it's Old Split. They said it's the expressions team. That might be skins. They might come out and talk about Overdrive. Which, if the maps team didn't hint at a new map, it most likely means that... No, wait, our next one should be an agent because they've been working on Drift. They're probably not going to release another map on top of that. All right, so Act 3, the release of Act 3 is probably going to be a new agent. My cat's going crazy right now. Finn, come here. Hey, leave my earbud alone. Yeah, I don't know what expressions team is. Oh, I think I gotta sneeze again. Dude, my nose is so stuffy with the weather changing. Hopefully this doesn't last forever, because at 3 I gotta dip out for just a little bit, so... But I don't think it's gonna last 3 hours. Probably an hour at most. Maybe 2. Yeah, dude, we're all sitting there like, why the fuck are they talking about maps? And it was the maps team. I didn't even realize. Bro, they baited us. Oh. Oh, they accidentally started talking. I don't think they meant to start talking there. They did that last time, now that I think about it. They did say something about the battle pass, though. That's what I heard real quick. Oh, okay, we got debated again. Oh, here we go. I can hear them talking. There we go.
So we're back here with the Expressions team. So if you guys could just introduce yourselves a little bit.
Yeah, I'm Preeti. I'm a producer on the team.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, this is the Skins team. I recognize her.
On Expressions.
And I'm Drew, and I'm the sound designer.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we'll just jump into it, right? So there's a lot of skins that that came out over this last year. So we picked some of the biggest ones, and I wanted to start with the Oni skin. So what are you?
That's why they showed the Oni trailer. Okay.
2.0.
Like Oni is it's just a classic, right?
Yeah.
It's like OG. It's like I think that's the skin a lot of people think of when they think about Valorant. Like released it I think in the first 6 weeks of Valorant back in 2020.
Right.
And for us, we knew it was really popular. We had people. There's like a whole Oni Vandal Twitter account tweeting at us every day.
Yeah.
Everyone in the community being like Oni Vandal when. So we saw it was really popular in pro play and a lot of the games. So we absolutely wanted to bring it back. And I think a big challenge for us was thinking about what is the right way to pay homage to Oni? How do you serve this established fan base? Oni has, maybe controversial, I think Oni has as many fans as Jet, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you agree? Okay.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I like the Oni skin. I love the Oni skin bundle, right? And okay, so another question kind of to just go off of that is what's what usually goes into the thought behind coming out with a 2.0 variant of a skin, right?
We typically when you're thinking about bringing back something that people already love, we really think about
what was that noise? Did anybody hear that?
People who love it still feel like we were true to it, and anyone else who's like, oh, I never really thought about it, can be interested in it. But we're primarily thinking about preserving what was special about it. And actually, Drew would be really good to talk about some of the audio, because there's this whole community thing, right, where people think that the Oni Phantom has custom firing audio.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
But it doesn't.
Yeah. It doesn't. Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
It's kind of an interesting challenge, right? Because we were trying to figure out well,
no,
why?
wait, the Oni
what is it
Phantom
about
does. The Oni
the
Vandal
sound,
has custom.
the other sounds of Oni that people are reacting to, and I'm of the mind that there is some psychoacoustic element to hearing the reload and the equip and the various custom sounds that when you play those alongside the regular sound of the Phantom, it changes how we perceive it a little bit.
Right.
And so people did think it had custom sound, and maybe that combined with the kill sound, something was happening. And so we were like, there's something there. People love this skin. So we want to, to go back to your point about how do we sort of take it to the next level, the 2.0. We want to do something new. We want to do something different. And so for me, that's audio, and that's firing audio. And so with the Vandal, we wanted to preserve what players already love, which was kind of an interesting challenge because they love the custom sound of the Phantom, which isn't actually custom. So we had to sort of operate in this kind of like limited space where we wanted to, honor doing something new, but also preserve what players sort of expected from the skin. And so it was sort of this like narrow, creative space to operate in, to do something cool, to do something unique, but still make sure that we're preserving the core and not like introducing something that was like, whoa, this is a totally new sonic color that we were just unfamiliar with, right? So trying to find that balance was a little bit part of the challenge.
I like that you brought up, that there's like the different animations and stuff that might alter like your perception of the sound, right? And that kind of like brings me to the katana, right? Because like the katana, it makes it seem like you run faster. Like when I was first using the skin, I'm like running down mid. I'm like, I'm sprinting. I'm like, I'm so quick with it. But I mean, is it faster or no?
No, it's like aimbot, same concept. It's something.
Yeah. So I guess it's just the perception that you're moving quick.
Slippery. It's always moving. It's always changing. So.
But it's the psychological edge. You might feel like you're faster, so therefore you are faster. It's just fake it till you make it kind of thing.
I mean, the whole thing with Oni is like it's aimbot. So how do we make sure that like the Oni Vandal is just as aimbot? And Sammy had to like work on that because she had worked, or had you worked on the original Phantom? I don't remember, but she came in and had to be like, well, how does the Vandal match up to its like legendary sister, the Phantom?
No, great job.
Definitely a lot of
Phantom
pressure.
is female
really
confirmed.
wanted to make sure we keep the same look and feel as the original Phantom, so glad players really liked it.
No, I use it, so I still use it now. Like I have it on my rotation. So so after the Oni, we're going to jump into the Neo Frontier and the way that the skin kind of evolves, right? Where did you come up with the idea to mix the two themes, right?
So little headcanon, if you're into that.
Of course.
So you notice like all the default guns have a little engraving on them, and it's based on like the in-world manufacture of those guns.
Right.
The Sheriff has this little symbol on it for Frontier Firearms, and our art director Sean Moreno, who unfortunately couldn't be in this segment today, very sad. He had this idea of what if we took Frontier Firearms and thought about it in its entire like history. So imagine this gun manufacturer back in the Old West making guns.
Yep.
And what if like, go thousands of, years into the future and they're still making guns for like the far future gunslingers, I guess.
Yeah.
So that is what that skin is.
Oh, that's kind of, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yes, you said it way better than I did. Yes, literally yes, from cowboys to cyborg cowboys. And Sammy actually did a lot of the work there to kind of bring these two very different themes to life.
That's cool.
No, and I like it. I also like the sound animation when you're inspecting, the sheriff, right? Was there ever any, problems with that? Like, were you like, oh, I don't want to have it too overbearingly loud, or like, I don't want it to play right away? Is there any difficulty with that?
Absolutely. I mean, that's, you're touching on the gameplay integrity component, which is enormous. I mean, that is like kind of sits front and center, probably for like all of our work. Is an animation too distracting? Is it blocking something? Is it, is it a competitive disadvantage in some way? And sound, is a huge component. I mean, being a tac shooter, like there's a lot of listening that's involved. And like for me, like I want to do something cool with sound. I want to be like, hey, let's just add, guitar, for example, on the Sheriff, like when you inspect. And, for the inspect, there's a little bit more flexibility because it's a voluntary action. So it's like, hey, if the player's choosing to do it, like they don't have to do it. It's not like a reload where like you have to do it. So we have a little bit more bandwidth there. But finding that, the duration of the sound, the volume, how much like frequency space is it taking up, we really have to be mindful of all of that stuff.
Right. I like the idea that it's like on the inspect, right? Like you mentioned it, they don't have to do that.
Right.
So I like that. That's smart. And how do you make sure that the different art and sound is cohesive, right? You have all these unique designs. How do you come up with like unique design or sounds to kind of match that and make sure that everything kind of flows well and smooth?
These two working together, right? Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I talk with the sound. I mean, a lot of it is, I think generally the process is that the animations will exist.
He keeps rubbing his face on his mic on accident.
First, and we will sort of key off of that. And so, like the work that Sammy and her team are doing, like that's what we will respond to. And so that's like, you know, it is part of the job to be like, well, like this needs to be given weight, it needs to be given life, and like my language and my tools to do that is audio. But it really is about complementing, I think, like the visuals first.
I see. Okay. So it starts with the visuals, and then you guys make sounds based off of those visuals.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
In terms of what actually is in game, there are instances where
Jules is helping them host it.
Like I'll be tasked with like, hey, can you come up with like a sound palette, we call it, to just like put together a sequence of sounds that can help us sort of understand what this thematic is with like a different language than just like here's concept art and various. So sometimes like audio will sort of be in parallel with some of the visual development, but in terms of what's actually in game, it's art first.
Like for Elder Flame, the dragon skin, I remember it was just a 2-minute track of like monsters roaring that we listened to. Like it can be fun.
Okay. You just have like dinosaur noises, like
close your eyes.
ASMR.
It's like I guess like crocodiles or something. I don't really know. Just listening to that for like 2 minutes, be like, okay, I feel it.
Yeah, crocodile barking for like 10 hours. You're like, I'm ready for this now. Okay, all right.
Okay, hold on.
Like sometimes we're just working off of like.
I gotta dip out a little bit earlier. I will be back later tonight, or not later tonight, but in a little bit I will be back. I gotta dip out, so if you guys, you know, just go ahead and jump into another stream, and whoever's here right now, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys later. Sorry I had to dip out a little earlier than I thought.